Hey guys, I'm Deepthi Desikan. Today's video I'm going to be discussing the makeup sponges that is available in the Indian market, and I will be discussing the price, the way they apply the foundation and texture and all that, and also I will be comparing it to this one, which is the original Beauty Blender, to see if anything is remotely close to this one. So as you guys know, this is the original Beauty Blender. It actually comes in a container like this. So this is the original size of the Beauty Blender. Now it's wet and that's the reason it looks like this, and this one retails for $20 in the international market, and if you have to get it in India, you have to get it on Nykaa for around 1,890 rupees, which is a really steep price point. So now the reason that this one is so sought after is because there's going to be no other sponge of the same material as this one, because the Beauty Blender company has patented this material. So you're not going to see anything like this, and that's the reason it's unique. And also, if you look at the density of this sponge, this is how porous it is. It's not super dense and thick, it's super soft and squishy. So if I do this, you can see it goes all the way down and comes back up, and it has a lot of pores. And the reason that you usually use a beauty blender like this one is because a lot of people don't like their makeup to be like full coverage, because it can look a little cakey on the face. So if you want to shear down your foundation and make it look a little more natural and dewy, you can use something like this. It will absorb the excess foundation from your face, as opposed to if you apply it with a brush, which would kind of cake up the product. If you have to use a beauty blender for any liquid foundation or concealer or any creamy products, you have to wet it. That's when you can achieve the full potential of the product. The way you use this is you can apply your foundation with this side of the sponge. So you get like a round base and you just apply it like that. And when you want to blend out your concealer, you can use the pointed edge of this and just blend out the concealer underneath your eyes. So when I wanted to test this one out with foundation, I wanted to try it with a full coverage foundation. And for that reason, I tried it with this Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 foundation and concealer. So this foundation is pretty thick. If you use this with a brush, it's actually a full coverage foundation. But when I use it with a beauty blender, I find it to be somewhat of a medium coverage and definitely not full coverage, and I have to use 2 full pumps of this product to get that medium coverage. So this sponge actually absorbs a lot of product. So compared to any other sponge, I find that this absorbs a lot of product. And of course, it is a little easier to blend with this sponge as opposed to any other sponge that I've tried. Now personally, if you ask me, I would prefer a brush like this any day over a sponge like this one. If you like your foundation to look a little dewy and sheer, and you're basically into sponges and you don't like the finish you get with brushes, then go for this. So now I'll be talking about all the sponges like in decreasing order of price. So the next sponge I'm going to be talking about is from the brand called YBP Cosmetics, and this is what the packaging looks like. I like it a lot better compared to the Beauty Blender, which comes in just this tiny little thing. Whereas this, they've given you a good carton, and when you open this, it comes in a container like this, which is again so much better than the original Beauty Blender. And also this container has holes in it. Say if you're traveling and your sponge is wet and you don't have the time for it to dry, you can just put it in this and close it, and you don't have to worry about your sponge getting fungus on it, because it has holes for air to enter it. Now coming to the blender itself, this is what it looks like. It looks like the Beauty Blender, and it even has a lot of pores on it like the Beauty Blender, but this one is a lot chubbier than the Beauty Blender. The Beauty Blender is a lot more slimmer. This one is a lot more chubbier, and when it's wet, both of this expand to the same size. And now when you want to see how soft this one is, like I'm squishing both, can you see how this is the original Beauty Blender and it goes all the way down? That's how soft it is. Whereas I'm doing the same thing to this, and you can see it's not going all the way down. It is a little hard. Also, before I forget, in the demos that you're going to see, I've applied the foundation with the Beauty Blender on my right side, and on the left side I've been testing out all the other sponges. So in the demo, as you guys can see, this one doesn't absorb as much as product as a Beauty Blender. So if you want to use the same foundation, you can use like 1 or 1.5 pumps, but it does the job the exact same way. And this YBP sponge is priced at around 1,200 rupees. So when it comes to these two, that is the original Beauty Blender and this one, which one would I recommend? It completely depends on your choice. So since it's the exact same price, I think you should try this one, because then you can keep like a benchmark and then compare any other sponge to this one. And also, if you want your foundation to look a little bit sheer, this is the one to go for. If you don't care about that, so if you don't want to spend money outside of India and you wanted to just stay within the country, I think you can go for this one. It's pretty good as well. And I have washed this one, and it does take quite a bit of effort to get the excess foundation out of this product. And this one is a lot easier to wash even if I use a normal soap as compared to this one, because even after I completely like put soap and squeeze out everything, I can still see a little bit of foundation coming out of this. So the next product in terms of price point, this one is by the brand Pac Cosmetics. So there are 2 beauty blenders in this, and it comes in a pouch like this. And when you open this, you can see 2 sponges, and these are the 2 shapes of the beauty blender. Like one is a little bit slanted like the Real Techniques one, and the other one is like the original beauty blender. Now, because it's from the same brand and it comes in a pack, you would think that both of this is of the same density and it applies the foundation the exact same way. This one is exactly like the Real Techniques one. Like I mentioned in a previous video, it's very hard to apply. It's like literally punching your face, and it's a lot harder to blend the foundation when you use this. Whereas when you use this, it's a lot easier to apply the foundation. It's not as dense and stiff as this is, so it's a lot easier to apply. It blends pretty well, and again, it doesn't absorb a lot of product, which means that you won't get that sheer finish. This one blends out the foundation the way it would be if you used a buffing brush. This pack is priced at 790 rupees, so you get 2 sponges. Now, the thing that I was a little worried about is that I feel like these sponges would tear very soon, because I can already see like some kind of dent here, like it's gonna tear apart. That kind of throws me off. So if you do want to try the Pac sponge, I would say go with the single sponge, which is priced at 495 rupees, because even though you're paying 790 and getting 2, this one is pretty much useless. Might as well just buy one and you can save like 200 to 300 rupees. So the next sponge that I want to talk about is by this brand Natio. So it comes in a clear plasticky thing like this, and this is what the sponge looks like. And you can be like, oh, so cute, so tiny. Maybe it's gonna expand to a lot bigger size when you wet it. No, it doesn't expand at all. Like I tried to wet it, I squeezed it so much, and I tried my best with this one. Wait, let me show you a live demo. So look at the size of this. Don't forget, memorize the size of this one, okay? It's only this much, like this much. Now let me just wet it. Are you guys ready to see it? Okay, so this was the size. Yeah, I wet it pretty well, and you can see my hands are still dripping wet. It didn't expand at all. So you can be like, okay, fine. What if it doesn't expand? If it does the job, I'm okay with that. No, this doesn't do anything. It's pretty much waste of money. This one was priced at 500 rupees. It's like you have to stamp your face so hard. It's like you're literally punching yourself. It's like you're punishing yourself when you're using this. So this sponge, you might not see a demo of me using it. If at all you see this one on the Nykaa website, stay away from it. So the next sponge I'm going to be talking about is from Real Techniques. This one is priced at around $6 in the international market. You can get this one on Amazon, but I don't know the authenticity of it. I don't know if it's original or anything of that sort. And on Nykaa, this is priced at 1,900 or something like that. That's more than even the original beauty blender, which is ridiculous, which is like excess pricing. So I think most of you know my opinion on this one. I don't really like this sponge at all. I feel like it doesn't apply my foundation well. It takes a lot harder to blend it. I wouldn't recommend this, but I don't completely like put on a red alert and tell you guys to stay away from this, because a lot of people do have the same product which is a lot more squishy and applies really well and not so dense. So maybe it's a bad batch and there's another good batch of this. So the next sponge I'm going to be talking about is from Innisfree. This one is priced at 350 rupees. I was so surprised at the shape of this. It's called a stamping puff or something like that. Use it like this to apply the foundation, which is okay to apply the foundation, but it's really hard to apply the concealer with this one because of the shape of this. It's really hard. Like if you have eyeshadow over here and all that, it's really hard to get in that inner corner. In terms of how it blends the foundation, it does do a pretty good job. It's not like really bad product or something like that, but if your foundation is really thick in consistency like this Milani one, it is a lot harder to blend. But if you're going to use a foundation that is a little bit more runny in consistency, then this will blend it out really well. So this is the original size of this, and if you wet it, has expanded this much. It is pretty sturdy and I have washed it as well. So last but certainly not the least, I have a sponge from this seller on Amazon called Puna store, and this is priced at 200 rupees. It's like a knockoff version of the Real Techniques sponge. It looks exactly like that. Both of these sponges are wet, and you can see how chubbier and bigger this one gets as compared to the Real Techniques one. And when it comes to the density, the Real Techniques one is a lot softer than the Puna store one. you guys can see, like this one goes all the way and it's a little squishy compared to this. So you would think that this being softer would apply the foundation better than this, but no. I dislike the Real Techniques one, but I was super surprised at how this one applied my foundation. It looks super thick and sturdy and I thought it wouldn't do anything, but it actually applied the foundation pretty well. So the coverage that I get when I use this is similar to the one from Pac Cosmetics, this oval shaped one. I like the way it applies my foundation, I like the affordability, I like the availability of this and all that. The only problem that I face with this sponge is that, like, I left my sponge a little wet the other day. I do that with all my sponges. But this one seems to have started forming moles. You can't see any fungus on this or anything of that sort, like it's clean. But I feel like it's gonna start forming fungus. You get what you pay for. It's not gonna be the best quality, but it's affordable and it pretty much does the job like any other sponge. This one again applies the foundation really well. I use this side to apply my foundation, blend out my concealer. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about, and these are all the sponges that I wanted to mention. In terms of dupe, like the closest thing that I think would come to the Beauty Blender is the YBP Cosmetics Sponge, which is like the closest in terms of the way it applies the foundation. It's not completely exactly the same, but it's really close. So like I mentioned, it's up to you guys to choose which one you want to buy. But though the other sponges are not as similar as the Beauty Blender, it still does the job and it pretty much does the same thing. In fact, I like it even better that way. Like, I don't like my foundation to be really sheer, so I really prefer the way these other sponges do, and I don't want to have like that high price point in my head saying that, oh my god, it's $20 so I have to take care of it. I just want to not bother about the price point and I would rather stick to something really inexpensive. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Don't forget to like this video and also comment down below and let me know what are the sponges that you really like and the ones that you've tried, be it from Amazon or anything of that sort. Do let us know. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.